Hello! We have two stories today, but our first is the most exciting ever. It's all about data entry. Thrilling, right? It gets even more exciting when you find out it's at a call center. Okay, I'm kidding. It's not an exciting job, nor is it an exciting location. It's actually everything but, until one fateful day when Karen starts her job as the new manager. That's the day when piles start to build. Cece, this is the promised excitement, right? Are they piles of excitement? No, silly goose. They're piles of failure and gross incompetence, and day by day they grow until they eventually crush her. Ooh, now that's exciting. Story 1. Back in my college days in the late 90s, I worked in my college's Alumni Communication Center. In reality, it's a call center where college students work to ask the low-giving alumni for money. The college had professional folks to handle the big, mega donors. I, luckily, wasn't a student caller, which seemed awful. I, a sophomore, was, and this was the official job title, data entry. A quick sidebar. We also had a couple of call coaches who were seniors who would monitor the callers and give them feedback on how to do a better job at asking alumni for money. Typically donations in the $100 to $250 range. When callers made a call, they recorded the outcome of the call on a sheet of paper. I would then collect these sheets and then go to the sole computer in the caller center and record the data. Most of the results I entered would be no answer or left a message on a voice machine. Sometimes we got a donation. So I would enter that caller outcome into the computer and somewhere else. The alumni department would generate a donation envelope that was mailed to the alumnus. So then the alumnus could then mail a check back to us. Now, about 10% of the donations would be by credit card. At the end of the night, after the callers left, I would spend about 30 minutes processing the credit cards through this dial-up credit card machine. I did this without issue for 2 months, September and October. Now enters Karen, the new boss lady over the call center. She finally notices the extra 30 minutes on my timesheet each day and asks me about it sometime in late October. I tell her that I process the credit cards after everyone leaves for the night. That's how I was trained by the previous data entry person. This upsets Karen, who says I am far too young to be handling credit card information. Makes clear that I am to stick to my job of only entering the caller's data. Period. End of story. Data entry only. No handling the money. The money is to be handled only by the grown-ups. To be perfectly clear, these were credit card numbers handwritten on a sheet of paper. Absolutely no cash money involved on my end. So, you got it, condescending Karen. I stopped processing the credit card's donations. I set them in a pile at the end of the night, right by the credit card machine. And with each passing night, the pile grows and grows. November ends, and this pile is now 250 pages or so thick. It also wasn't my job to ask questions like, who is processing the credit card sheets? Since the month ended and no credit cards were processed, Karen absolutely failed to hit her fundraising goals. She starts to berate the call coaches and the callers for not doing a good enough job. Karen starts spending more time in the call center, watching everything and everyone like a hawk. I continue to do exactly what I was told to do. One day she would offer a prize like a college hat, and then the next, a long lecture about how everyone shouldn't be lazy. Over the course of December, I keep adding to the pile of unprocessed credit cards. It's a good 500 pages thick by now. Compared to the massive piles of sheets of no answers and left a message, it's not very noticeable. Naturally, someone in the alumni department has noticed that the donations coming in are down about 25% over November and December. This results in me coming back from Christmas break, where I get to meet Cool Chad, the new boss dude over the call center. He asks if my job includes processing credit cards. I told him Karen told me not to, but I was trained to process them. In fact, I'm the only one who has been trained how to process them. He says, cool, please do process the credit cards. Cool Chad asks if there are any unprocessed credit card sheets. Oh yeah, there are. Cool Chad then asks me if I could get this done over the next couple of weeks. Oh sure, no problem. I spent several hours over a couple of Saturdays processing the credit cards. Cool Chad has the absolute best January ever in the history of the call center. The quotes are paraphrasing. It has been over 25 years. Why is Cool Chad Cool Chad? In February, Cool Chad gave me a raise from $8 an hour to $10 an hour. Thanks, Cool Chad. In the comments, Exact Manufacturer said, love how she tells you that grown-ups should handle the money, then proceeds to never find grown-ups to handle the money. And is left wondering why donations are down. Not too bright. Coder Joe said, bad boss, stop doing your job. Good boss, start doing your job. Wayne added, cool boss, here's more money for doing your job. Fair Degree said, did any of the donors ever call back upset that you charged their credit card 3 months later than they expected? OP replied, if I remember what I was told correctly, it was only 2 or 3 people out of several hundred. Classic. I'm a new boss, and I'm going to tell you how to do a better job in a way that prevents you from doing said job, which in turn will tank the entire team's efforts. But never you mind. I'm a boss, and I know best. No questions. Get back to not doing your work. Thank goodness OP only had to deal with this Karen for a few months. Most aren't so lucky. Our second story comes on the heels of a glorious spring day here in Canada. It was hot. I was out all day in my sundress and everyone's rocking shorts, tees, and bikinis. Oh my, how fun. At least it was, until a fuddy-duddy named Rick showed up in our next story and made everyone cover up. And no, Rick wasn't the original name. But it does rhyme with Rick. Our next hero takes on Rick in a battle to show some skin. Story 2. So, I was a sarcastic and easily annoyed guy in my 20s, and this often didn't help me get along with older or corporate types. I was working at a certain pumpkin-colored big box home improvement store one spring in the flooring department. It was just starting to get warm out, and the store didn't have much AC. So I was looking forward to a magical date where certain employees were allowed to switch their pants for shorts. Problem is that we had a new department manager, I'll call him Rick, who was aggressively chasing a promotion to assistant manager, then store manager. He thought he could accomplish that by being a super by-the-book jerkface and being relentlessly metrics-focused. This translated into a manager who was a know-it-all, micromanaging jerkhole, Rick. Anyway, I'm scheduled to open at 5 a.m. one day on the fabled day of cooler bottom wear, and I walk in all light and airy and bare-legged. Rick, who was overnight manager the previous night, saw me and threw a fit. "Why are you out of uniform?" he asked. "I'm not. I can wear shorts starting today," I proclaimed. "Not your position in your department. Who told you that you could?" he retorted. "The employee handbook and SOP? I can show you if you don't believe me," I offered. "I know the SOP in your department doesn't get to wear shorts. That's only garden. Go home and change right now," he demanded, face getting redder from my defiance. "Okay, Rick, if that's how you want to play it, I'll be back in an hour," I sighed. "Maybe the loss of an hour of pay will teach you something." So I know better. The reason I know better is because I'm one of the weirdos who actually read the entire standard operating procedure document. And also the employee handbook, which is actually just a subsection of the SOP. And I really hate being wrong. So I check the SOP before doing anything different day to day. In my store, the SOP was like invoking God. If the SOP said so, that won every single argument. So I go home, change into pants, but bring my shorts back to work with me. By now, Rick's shift is over, and I ask the new morning manager on duty, Darren, to meet with me. "Why, what's up?" "Oh, just an SOP issue." "Oh, okay, give me like 10 minutes?" So I swung by my desk and printed out several things. My latest pay stub that included my official job title and department number, the company directory that listed the department names and their associated numbers, the SOP that dealt with when and which department employees can wear shorts, the annual email from the regional VP confirming which departments could wear shorts and starting when. This also included the line, "And this letter is to be posted at the time clock between the dates of X and X." The SOP detailing the company transportation and mileage reimbursement policy, a Google Maps route that mirrored the route I take to and from work with the total mileage highlighted. So I meet with Darren and explained what happened and handed him each page in turn as they became relevant. At the end, we agreed that I was right on every single account and asked me what I wanted. "I want the time. I was turned away before I could clock in, so I want to be paid starting at 5 a.m. Feel free to check the CCTV if you want to confirm when I arrived." I want the mileage because Rick sent me on essentially a company errand with my own vehicle through no fault of my own. I want this letter posted at the clock, like it says it's supposed to be. I want you to talk to Rick about this because I told him this was the SOP before he sent me home. I'm changing back into my shorts. All of that sounds more than fair. Get the paperwork for the clock adjustment and mileage to me today and I'll sign it. The letter mysteriously went missing from the time clock the next day, but I replaced it every day until I happened to see Rick angrily snatch it off the board and throw it away. I reported that as well, and the letter stopped going missing. He didn't talk to me much, and I was transferred to another department a month later. So all in all, win-win, I think. In the comments, someone said, "Hilarious that Rick thought that being by the book really meant being a humorless jerkhole to his employees, while he was fine with violating company rules by hiding that he was lying and in the wrong." Fast Fee said, "Nothing like using SOP to show Rick that he's acting like a Johnson." Swamp Wolf added, "I don't think he was acting." Nor do I. That's him through and through. OP should have also checked OHS policies. There was probably something in there about keeping cool and hydrated. Then he might have been able to get Rick on not only failing to follow SOPs, but also for risking the health and well-being of employees. It's sad to think that Rick will probably make it to the top anyway, even though he's such a dillweed. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, Starlight. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.